Hi, and this is the People and Roles question 2, part C, 6 marks. And as you can see in the question information box above, we have using the project scenario. So have a quick whiz through the project scenario once again, or at least refer to it where you need to, if you're not quite, if you're already sort of fairly familiar with it by now. And it says the Rollins is in foundations, so we're still putting a lot of things together at this point. And the PL's made some decisions with moving the project forward. So now we're going to look at some actions and see how they are appropriate for Agile project management. And as you notice in the answer box, we've got yes and no with some sort of statement or backup rationale behind it. So in this particular situation, this style of question, just remind you that the best approach is to read the question or to read the statements and then decide whether this is a proper application or not, an appropriate application or not, and why you've chosen the yes or the no. Then go and look at the answers, because firstly you only need to look at two statements now, because now if you've got yes, you don't need to look at the no's. And you've always got some formulation in your head as to why, and they help you pick out the right one. Because sometimes both statements here in the yes or the no's might be true, but only one is relevant to the question or the statement being posed for the question. So let's see how we go now and give some rationale behind that, and then you can then review how you did and have a read back through again on the chapters on roles and responsibilities to clarify any concerns you may have. So, number one, the business ambassador will telephone his line manager on a regular basis in order to ascertain if the sample stock is appropriate to send you Geneva. So, is that appropriate application or not? Well, no, because as much as his line manager might well be a stakeholder, because they've got the ambassador involved in the project, they're not involved in the project at this point. We don't know who that might be. And apart from the fact, they're empowered to make their own decisions at solution development team level. So let's go and have a look. No, because the Agile teams are empowered to make their own decisions. Or no, because this is the role of the PM. Well, we picked A because it's exactly what we rationalized as being the answer why it was no. Okay. Just be careful, because you might assume he's a line manager, and a lot of people might think that it could be the visionary. But this is not the point. And even then, why would the ambassador go back to the visionary? This is a solution development team level decision. Right. Question 2. The end date of the time box containing the must-have requirement to produce the print-ready copy for sending an outside printer can be renegotiated. We do not renegotiate the time box ends. It is fixed once we finish in foundations, and it does not change. We use the requirements in the time box, the scope of that time box, to keep it on track. So let's have a look. We only look at the no's. No, because the project duration is not long enough to renegotiate. Well, this is irrelevant. No, because the content of a time box should be renegotiated rather than the end date. Well, that's exactly what we said. So the answer there is, of course, B in this case. Number 3. The business ambassador must go abroad for 2 days during evolutionary development. However, the PM has arranged for her to be involved in the daily stand-ups using conference line calls. Well, of course, this is fairly reasonable to be able to do this. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all. Yes, co-location is useful, but that isn't always possible. The ambassador might be covering other areas within the development on other teams. So yes, of course you can do that. So yes, because the daily stand-ups held by telephone conference can be effective, a single work location is not possible. Well, that's just what we said. So C looks like a good answer. Check D just in case. Yes, because this is the only time the view of the ambassador is taken into account. Well, that's totally out of order, not true at all. So C, as we thought, is the right answer. So let's go and move to question 4 now. So decisions relating to scope will be the sole responsibility of the ambassador. Absolutely not. The owner of the scope, of course, is the sponsor. or certainly at project level roles from a point of view of the sponsor for the whole scope and the visionary for the high level requirements. So we say no, it's project level decisions. And look, A says no because these are project level role decisions. Or because decisions related to scope change should be made by the STT. No, they should not. So that's not true anyway. Yes, because the ambassadors decide this will speed up decision making. Well, that's not a good point either. And this is a relatively small project. This has nothing to do with it either. And actually, we already decided it was no and A is the right answer. I just read the other two out just so you. Sometimes it's a good idea to check through them just in case. So do be aware that sometimes there are statements in here that are in two parts. One part might be right and the other part might be complete bunkum. Well, it's completely untrue and therefore it would negate the whole answer. So just be aware of that. Sometimes both statements could be right, true, but only one is related to the question, as we said. Okay, number 5. Burn down charts will be used to monitor the progress of the project. Remember, burn down charts are about building the list of requirements and any information around that particular requirement, like prioritization, effort, what time box it's in, how long, whereabouts it is through the process. Is it still being considered as part of the project? Move down time boxes or whatever. So whatever information you want to put in there. And any sub-requirements underneath it. So you get some idea as the project goes through what is left to do, what's been done and what's being looked at right now. So this is a good way to monitor the progress of the project. So yes, because they show the completion of tasks, but they show a lot more than that. In fact, just showing completion of tasks is a burn up chart. So yes, because the burn down charts visually demonstrate the remaining work, where the current plan looks achievable. Well, that's exactly right. So we can use burn down charts in various places, but the one we use in DSCM is, as mentioned, it shows more and more of the requirements we have, how many are done, not done, and the circumstance around each particular one. So the answer there is D. Finally, only one S solution developer, a multimedia designer on short-term contract, is working on the project full-time. Right. So you can have people full-time on the team, but the team might not necessarily working full-time on the project. Okay, so that same team could be working on a project in the morning, could be working on a different project in the afternoon. But in this case, we've got somebody who's working on it full-time right through. The other developers are members of the SDT, have been scheduled to work in the project the first 2 hours of every day. So that's okay. As long as there's one continuous owner of the intellectual property and the knowledge, etc., and the skills, and the rest are there at a certain point in time during the day for the same period of time, then they can have their daily stand-ups and the information can be shared. So that's fine. That's not a problem. Right, so let's have a look. Yes, because synchronizing these hours allows the team to work collaboratively. Well, exactly right, daily stand-ups, etc. Or because the team was sufficiently empowered to guide day-to-day evolution of the solution. Well, the statement is true. In fact, both of them are obviously true statements, but only C is actually related to the question statement. What we need to find the answer for, because they allow them to work collaboratively, and that's what we're actually looking for in this particular statement. So the answer there is C. So hopefully you fared fairly well on that. And in that case, if there are any certain questions or concerns about any of the questions we've just gone through, then please refer again back to the handbook. And if you need further support or clarification, then contact a tutor through a portal on the platform, and we're more than happy to provide that backup and feed. Thank you.